You don't need 100 compliments. You don't need flowers or poems. You just need one sentence, delivered with calm certainty. You're mine. Sounds simple, right? But most men never say it. And if they do, they say it the wrong way. Too early. Too desperate. Too loud. Here's what no one tells you. She's not waiting for a guy who performs. She's waiting for a man who knows. There was a moment, a dinner, 6 months into a relationship. He looked her in the eyes. No tension. No smile. Just presence. And he said it. Not as a question. Not as a game. Just truth. The room went silent. She didn't blink. She just leaned in. Because when it's said right, that one sentence unlocks something deeper than attraction. But here's the secret. It's not about what you say. It's about who you've become before you even say it. You see, women don't fall for words. They fall for how those words make them feel. Because safety isn't logical. It's primal. And when a woman feels safe, genuinely, deeply safe, obsession follows without her even realizing it. Now let's break this down. When a man says, "You're mine," from a place of insecurity, it feels like a trap. It's possessive. It's needy. But when a man says it from grounded certainty, it feels like home. Why? Because safety isn't created by what you say. It's created by who you are before you say it. It starts with your nervous system. If you're anxious, unstable, or reactive, she feels it. Her body mirrors it. That's biology, not opinion. Women are wired to sense safety in ways most men ignore. Your tone, your breathing, your eye contact, even your stillness, it all tells her something. If your presence is calm, her guard drops. If your energy is anchored, she leans in. Think about that for a second. The male lion doesn't roar every 5 minutes to prove his power. He just has power. Still, silent, certain. And every creature in the jungle respects him because of that. That's what your mind sounds like. When it's spoken from that place, it tells her, you can rest now. You're safe here. You don't need to lead. I've got this. And in that moment, something powerful happens. Her mind stops racing. Her walls lower. She exhales in a way she hasn't in weeks. That's not control. That's chemistry. Here's what you need to understand. Oxytocin, the bonding chemical, doesn't spike when you buy her things. It spikes when you make her feel emotionally secure. It spikes when she feels seen without being judged, held without being controlled, loved without needing to perform. That's the paradox. Your mind sounds possessive on paper, but when it's said with zero need and full presence, it sets her free. Because she's not hearing, "You belong to me." She's hearing, "You can finally stop pretending. I choose you, and I've got you." It's the difference between a boy chasing validation and a man creating safety. Here's another truth. Women don't want to feel like they're chasing your attention. They want to relax into your leadership. And leadership doesn't mean domination. It means direction, clarity, a vision she can trust enough to follow. When you say "you're mine" from that place, it doesn't create pressure. It creates peace. And peace is addictive. You become the man who doesn't raise his voice to be heard. Because your silence already says everything. Now ask yourself this. When you walk into a room, do people feel calm? When she's around you, does she feel safe enough to breathe deeply? Not because you said the right thing, but because you simply are that space? If the answer is no, don't panic. Because this kind of presence can be built. Start with you. Master your emotions. Slow your breath. Lead yourself before you ever try to lead someone else. Because the moment she senses you're not shaken by life, she starts to believe. Maybe you won't be shaken by her. And that belief, that's the gateway to obsession. Not the unhealthy kind, but the kind that says, "This man feels like home. I crave being near him. I don't even know why." But you know why? Because safety isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's not anxious. It's not needy. It's still. It's secure. It's quiet power. And when you tap into that, when you say that one sentence, "You're mine," you're not just speaking to her ears. You're speaking to her nervous system, her heart, her biology. And that, my friend, is the language no woman can resist. Why your mind works, Stoics spoke rarely. But when they did, their words echoed. They didn't waste energy proving their worth. They didn't chase attention, demand affection, or compete for approval. They lived in alignment. And from that alignment, their words held gravity. When a Stoic man says, "You're mine," it's not about possession. It's about protection, direction, and security. It's a declaration, not a demand. It doesn't cage her. It grounds her. Because real masculinity doesn't dominate, it anchors. Think about Marcus Aurelius, sitting in his tent before battle. Thousands of men waiting for his command. And yet, he didn't shout. He didn't posture. He gave calm instructions, spoke with clarity, then went to sleep. Because true strength doesn't need performance. It needs presence. In the same way, when you say you're mine, from a place of calm certainty, she doesn't hear control. She hears safety. She hears, I know who I am. I know what I want. And I choose you. That changes everything. Epictetus once said, seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and your life will flow smoothly. What does that mean in relationships? It means you don't try to force a woman to stay. You don't try to make her love you. You become the kind of man she never wants to leave. And when she feels that, when she sees that you're grounded while others are reactive, quiet while others are loud, calm while others are insecure, you stop being one of many. You become one of one. And when a man like that says, you're mine, she doesn't resist. She melts. Because it's not a claim of ownership. It's a promise of intention. It says, I'm not here to play. I'm not here to use you. I'm here to build with you. And I'm strong enough to hold both of us. That is Stoic energy. Unshakable. Unapologetic. Unrushed. You see, most men rush into declarations to get a reaction. They want her to smile, blush, say something sweet. But the Stoic man doesn't speak for feedback. He speaks from alignment. He says what's real, then lets silence do the rest. Because silence is never empty. It's filled with everything she's craving but can't name. Security, certainty, stability. Those are the things that make a woman obsess over you. Not because you're loud, but because you're solid. Let's go deeper. In ancient times, warriors didn't promise safety with loud speeches. They promised it by standing their ground. They led by example. They carried themselves with honor. They protected what mattered without needing applause. That's how "you're mine" lands differently when spoken from that posture. Because behind it is a silent message. You're safe here. I'll protect your heart. I'll protect our vision. I won't waver when things get hard. And for a feminine woman, that level of certainty is magnetic. She doesn't want your words. She wants the foundation beneath your words. And if that foundation is solid, even just one sentence becomes unforgettable. So let me ask you this. When you say you're mine, are you saying it to claim her? Or are you saying it to reassure her? Because the intention matters. When it's ego-driven, it makes her want space. When it's purpose-driven, it makes her lean in. Aurelius also said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. So stop trying to convince her you're the man. Become the man. Through discipline. Through clarity. Through self-mastery. And then, when the moment comes, you won't have to rehearse the line. It will just come out, effortlessly, naturally, powerfully, and she will feel it, not just in her ears, but in her nervous system, her soul, because she'll know, without a doubt, that you meant every word. You're mine. Spoken not from a boy needing attention, but from a man who offers direction, a man who lives his values, and speaks only when he has something worth saying. That is the Stoic way. That is the quiet strength that echoes long after you've spoken. Say it with anxiety, she pulls away. Say it with certainty, she draws near. It's not what you say, it's who says it. That's the hidden layer every man overlooks. You could hand two men the exact same sentence. You're mine. One gets silence. The other gets surrender. Why? Because women aren't listening just with their ears. They're listening with their nervous system. They're reading your energy. Every second. Unconsciously. Automatically. Your tone. Your timing. Your presence. All of it creates an emotional code. And she's fluent in that language, even if you're not. Let's make it clear. When you say you're mine, from a place of fear, she feels the pressure. She feels your need. Your attachment. Your hope for validation. And the feminine does not relax in the presence of need. It retreats. Because she's not looking for someone to fill her emptiness. She's looking for someone full enough to hold hers. On the flip side, when you say it from a place of grounded certainty, you don't need a response. You don't need her to react a certain way. You're simply stating truth. And that energy? It's magnetic. Let's break it down further. On the left side of the screen, a man leans in too quickly. Eyes darting. Voice slightly trembling. You're mine, he says. But it sounds more like a question than a statement. He's waiting. For her approval. for her reaction, for her to make him feel safe. Now on the right side, another man. No rush, no nervous movements. Breathing steady, posture upright, eye contact soft, but unbroken. You're mine. Same words, completely different experience. Because the second man, he's not trying to get her, he's choosing her. And that's the difference between attraction and repulsion, between pressure and presence. Here's the truth. Your words ride the frequency of your energy. If your energy is scattered, insecure, or needy, your words feel like manipulation, even if they sound sweet. If your energy is grounded, present, and full, your words feel like home, even if they're few. That's why most men fail in relationships. They obsess over what to say, but they ignore the energy they say it with. And energy doesn't lie. You can rehearse lines. You can memorize quotes. You can even fake confidence for a while. But her body will always respond to your authentic state. That's the real test. Your breath, your body language, your intention. That's what she's reacting to, even if she doesn't know it consciously. So what creates that grounded energy? Simple. Presence, self-respect, clarity of intention, and the refusal to chase. Not because you don't care, but because you know that what you bring is valuable. Because you understand this. A man who truly values himself doesn't chase love. He invites it. He allows it. And he only speaks when his words have weight. That's why when he says, "You're mine," it lands. Not as pressure, not as a trick, but as truth. Because his life is already full. His mission is already clear. And his heart is already whole. She doesn't complete him. She joins him. And that shift in energy is everything. So before you ever say the words, check yourself. Are you grounded? Are you still? Are you speaking from presence or performance? Because you can't fake grounded energy. You build it. Through self-mastery. Through stillness. Through handling your life with clarity and confidence. Then, when the moment is right, you don't have to say anything. But if you do, "Your mind" becomes a sentence she feels in her chest, in her stomach, in her heart. Not because you forced it, but because your energy told her, you are safe. You are seen. You are chosen. And that is a feeling no woman forgets. When to say it, timing is everything. You can say the right words at the wrong moment and lose her forever. Because "you're mine" isn't a pickup line. It's not something you throw out during a casual text. It's not meant to be sent through a meme or dropped during a flirt. It's meant for a moment, a real moment, when silence says more than words, when her walls are low, when her heart is open, even if her lips are still guarded. That's when it lands. You don't say it when she's distracted. You don't say it when she's unsure. And you never say it when you're unsure. Because women feel everything, even what you try to hide. If there's hesitation in your tone, she senses it. If you're saying it to impress her, she'll know. If you're forcing it, she'll pull away. But when the energy is aligned, when the moment is charged with connection, that's when she's ready to receive it. Imagine this. You've spent time getting to know her. Not just her smile, but her silence. Not just her jokes, but her fears. She's seen you grounded. She's seen you patient. You haven't chased. You've led. You've listened more than you've spoken. You've made her feel safe, not by talking about it, but by showing it with your consistency. Then comes that moment. Maybe you're sitting across from her at dinner, and the conversation fades. She looks at you. Not with curiosity, but with readiness. No words, just a pause. Or maybe it's after a long day. You're driving home. There's a peaceful silence in the car. She reaches for your hand. No questions, just presence. And then, in that quiet space where her defenses fall, that's when you lean in, look her in the eyes, and say it. Not loud, not dramatic, just calm. "You're mine." And in that moment, she doesn't need to respond. Her body will. Her energy will. Because deep down, that's what she's been waiting for. Not the words, but the feeling behind them. The feeling that says, "I'm not afraid of you. I'm not playing games. I've chosen you. And I'm not leaving." Here's the truth most men never hear. If you say "you're mine" too soon, it sounds like a trap. If you say it too often, it loses meaning. If you say it without certainty, it sounds like a script. But when you say it once, at the right time, with full presence, it echoes for days, weeks, years. Because women don't remember every compliment, but they remember how they felt in the moment a man finally claimed them, without force, without fear, and without needing anything in return. Let me be clear. Saying you're mine isn't about possession. It's about intention. It's you standing in your truth, offering her certainty, offering her clarity in a world full of confusion. You say it not because you're desperate, but because your life is aligned. Your path is clear, and you've made space for someone to walk beside you, not behind you, not ahead of you, but beside you. And when she senses that, when she feels the strength behind your calm tone, she doesn't question it. She trusts it. She relaxes into it. Because more than love, more than money, more than attraction, what a woman truly desires is emotional safety. And safety is created by timing, by intention, by grounded energy meeting the right moment. So wait for that moment. Feel it. Breathe into it. Then, when the time is right, say it once. Not to test her, not to get a reaction, but to make a promise. A silent vow that says, I see you. I choose you. You're mine. How to make her feel it, you've said the words. You're mine. But what makes them stick? What makes her feel it? It's not repetition. It's not a deeper voice. It's not even what she says in response. It's what your life says when your mouth is closed. Because long before a woman feels safe with your words, she needs to feel safe in your presence. So how do you make her feel it? Start with you. You cannot lead a woman until you lead yourself. You cannot offer calm if you live in chaos. You cannot hold space for her emotions if yours control you. So before she trusts you with her heart, she's watching how you carry your own. Do you show up on time? Do you keep your word? Do you move with purpose? Do you respond, or do you react? These are not just masculine traits. They're emotional anchors. And a woman, especially a feminine woman, is drawn to a man whose life feels anchored. She needs to know, if the storm comes, will you stand still? If life gets messy, will you stay present? If she breaks down, will you hold steady or fall apart beside her? The moment you show her that nothing outside of you controls the inside of you, she begins to feel it. That's when your mind becomes more than a phrase. It becomes an experience. Because here's what most men get wrong. They try to convince her. They try to explain themselves. They try to get her to feel it. But true attraction doesn't come from trying. It comes from being. Being still. Being consistent. Being trustworthy without needing credit. It's in the small things. When you open a door, not to impress her, but because it's who you are. When you keep your phone down, not to score points, but because you're present. When you listen, not just to her words, but to the silence between them. All of that makes her feel one thing: safe. And safety? That's the secret sauce of obsession. She doesn't obsess because of your money. She doesn't obsess because of your looks. She doesn't even obsess because of your body. She obsesses because in your presence, she feels held, without being caged. She feels led, without being controlled. She feels seen, without being judged. Let's go deeper. When she sees that your purpose isn't shaken by her moods, she relaxes. When she sees that your vision doesn't fade when things get hard, she respects you. And when she sees that your attention isn't scattered by temptation, she starts to belong to you emotionally, without even trying. But remember this, you cannot fake this energy. You must become it. That means doing the work when no one's watching. That means healing your wounds instead of hiding them. That means showing up fully, even when it's inconvenient. Because every time you show up as a man who lives by his principles, you become unforgettable. And when that man finally looks at her and says, "You're mine," she doesn't resist. She feels it, deep in her chest, in the rhythm of her breath, in the stillness of her mind. Because her body knows what her heart hasn't yet said. I've never felt this safe before. And here's the secret. When a woman feels safe, she opens up. When she opens up, she attaches. And when she attaches emotionally, she invests, protects, and obsesses. Not because you manipulated her, but because your presence gave her the space to be feminine again, soft again, real again. So the next time you think about how to make her feel the words, don't look for tricks. Don't study tactics. Look in the mirror. Ask yourself, would I trust me? Would I feel safe around me? Because if the answer is yes, she will too. And without needing to say much, you'll look her in the eyes and say it once. You're mine. And she'll smile, not because you said it, but because she already knew. Repeat this, but not too much. There's power in restraint. Power in not saying something too often, because repetition kills magic. Say it once, and it lives in her memory. Say it twice, and she begins to expect it. Say it 3 times, and it starts to lose its weight. Your mind only works when it's rare, when it's real, when it's rooted in the energy behind the words, not just the sound of them. So don't turn it into a habit. Turn it into a moment. A moment where your calm energy speaks louder than your voice. A moment where your eye contact says more than a paragraph ever could. Because a man who knows he's enough doesn't need to remind her. He simply shows her. Let your presence say it. Let your leadership say it. Let your silence say it. Then, when the moment is right, say it once. Let it echo. Let it land. And walk away, knowing that words don't make you powerful. What makes you powerful is the fact that you don't need to say it again. She won't remember every flower you gave her. She won't remember every late-night text. She won't remember the good morning messages, or how often you said, "I miss you." But she will remember how you made her feel. In your presence, did her mind go quiet? In your silence, did she feel seen? In your stillness, did she feel safe? Because that's what leaves a mark. Not your charm, not your effort, not your pursuit, but your energy. Women don't obsess over men who try hard. They obsess over men who feel unshakable. Men who say very little, but mean every word. And when a man who is grounded, still, and certain, looks her in the eye and says, "You're mine," it doesn't sound like control. It sounds like truth. She doesn't hear dominance. She hears direction. She hears stability. She hears a man who knows who he is and what he wants. And in that moment, you've given her something no one else has. Security without words. Love without fear. Attention without desperation. That's the Stoic way. You do not chase. You do not beg. You do not overexplain. You speak once. With intention. With grounded power. And it's felt deeper than 100 speeches. Because a real man doesn't perform. He leads. He doesn't try to make her feel something. He creates space where she feels it on her own. Calm. Peace. Warmth. Safety. And that's what she becomes obsessed with. Not you, but how she feels around you. So, if you're waiting for the perfect line to make her love you, stop. It's not about the line. It's about the man saying it. Build your presence. Center your mind. Ground your energy. And then, when the moment is right, when the space is calm, say it. You're mine. Then say no more. Because you don't need to. Let your silence echo. Let your stillness speak. Let your certainty draw her in. That is Stoic strength. That is masculine power. That is what women remember long after the flowers die and the texts fade. If this message hit deep, if something stirred in you, if you're tired of overcomplicating what it means to be a man, subscribe. This isn't just about words. This is about presence. This is about becoming the man who says less, but is felt more. This is Stoic strength. This is quiet power. This is the new masculine.